Welcome to the Political Matrix News. Politics, people, local, regional, national news. Political Matrix News keeps you informed. We have the sources, we have the truth from inside the political matrix.
Welcome to this edition of Political Matrix News. I'm Mike Bates. The four people in the Matrix today are Greg Fink, Scott Miller, and Tiffany Houston. Going around the Matrix to introduce ourselves, we'll start with you, Greg.
Hello, my name is Greg Fink. I've been working with the Political Matrix and the listener group for the last 20-some odd years, and this is our new branch out to making the listener group and the Political Matrix a little bit more about news and the news of the day. And so this is our second podcast here for the Political Matrix News, and I look forward to the next hour of conversation.
How about you, Scott?
Well, I'm Scott Miller. I've been Greg Fink and I have been business partners for almost 25 years that we've been digging around in the political muck. We're continuing on with that tradition here. Hopefully we can keep our hands a little cleaner than we have been in the past, but you know, it's all politics. It's just fun and games.
And how about you, Tiffany Houston? Tell us a little bit about yourself.
I'm Tiffany Houston, and I have worked with Greg and Scott for the past couple of years. And I'm a political junkie and here to have some fun too.
All right. And I'm Mike Bates, been in radio since 1980. I host a show on PMN Radio in Pensacola, 103.7 FM called The Mike Bates Show. Those of you not in the immediate Pensacola area can find it online at www.themikebatesshow.com. All right, so Greg, we'll start with you. You wanted to open the conversation with some discussion about Congressman Matt Gaetz, Florida Congressional District 1.
Yeah, it looks like Matt Gaetz has announced today that he's not going to run for governor again. And so because they were discussing in Tallahassee about making provisions for a runoff, just in case he did. And so he told them there's no reason to worry about that. He's not running for governor. He's good to go. He's going to stay in Congress and continue to work hard, long and tirelessly for the citizens of Northwest Florida and continue to be the strong conservative, bulwark
Firebrand
that he is. Firebrand, yes. That's it.
Yeah.
The firebrand that he is.
I, too, saw that news come out of Tallahassee today with a potential rework of the primary system. Florida hasn't had a runoff since, 2008, 2010, something like that. It's been a while.
Yeah, 2010,
and who was the last runoff?
No, you're going to throw that.
Matt Gaetz was in it.
No, I'm going to say
Matt Gaetz was
no. I'm going to say the last
No.
runoff was between Greg Evers and Robert Hilliard.
Boom.
No,
Am
actually,
I right?
the last no.
Is that correct?
The last runoff, I think, was between Matt Gaetz and Craig Barker. Whenever Craig Barker and Matt Gaetz ran for state rep, there were 4 or 5 Republicans in the state rep race. Then they had a runoff for state rep, and
you're
Craig
right.
Barker enlisted. And so Matt Gaetz actually was one with the last runoff. That was in 2009, whenever Ray Sansom had to vacate his seat. And
It's even more ironic.
basically, a lot of the reasons, yeah, exactly. It's more ironic because Matt Gaetz was the last runoff in Florida. Whenever Ray Sansom had to vacate his seat in 2009, whenever he had to step down from Speaker of the House because of a little bit of paperwork that Matt Gaetz, allegedly, possibly screwed up on, Ray's issue. And it kind of got Ray in trouble because, Matt Gaetz kind of screwed it up. But hey, Donnie Gaetz was he's over there in Tallahassee all the way already. You protected his son, threw Ray under the bus. Ray stepped down, special election. There's a runoff, and that was the last runoff. But, it's ironic that, once again, the Gaetzes were in the middle of that entire political calamity there. They ended up with Ray getting indicted and dropped of all charges, by the way, dismissed of everything. But, it was basically interesting that Matt was in the middle of that. And he ran, and that's the last runoff, and there's never been one since.
Well, when I heard the news out of Tallahassee that there was consideration about redoing the primary laws here in Florida with adding runoffs back into the mix, as it is now, a plurality secures you the nomination.
Right.
You get 5 people in a race, you could win it with 21% of the vote, and you are the nominee. And I know there was some concern in Tallahassee that Matt Gaetz would be running for governor. And with the statewide recognition he had, he could conceivably win a plurality, even a small plurality, and end up being the Republican nominee. Seems like the powers that be in Tallahassee didn't want that to occur, so they came up with this idea of reintroducing the runoff. But when I heard about that, and I heard that Matt Gaetz was kind of the reason for it, I kind of shook my head like, are these people not paying attention to the news? Because it was back in October of last year that Matt Gaetz told CBS TV in Miami that he was absolutely 100% not seeking the governor's office in Florida in 2026. So I thought that was widely known and was very surprised it even came up in discussion in the Capitol.
Well, I will say that I'll say that it was widely talked about that was the case. But I know several people that are closely connected to Matt who told us he was 1,000% for sure running for governor. And
it wouldn't be the first time that somebody said they weren't running and then were. So okay,
of course, especially when you factor into that the fact that his father had told other people privately that he was running to recover his Senate seat so that he could help his son raise money to run for governor. So it was a thing that was going to happen. It's just, my thoughts are between the pushback from the leadership in Tallahassee and probably some opportune polling. Mr. Gaetz got introduced to some reality.
Tiffany,
well, there was some polling done late last year that showed that Matt Gaetz's statewide approval was 21%.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Quite low.
Very bad.
But he has name recognition. And look, we are all pretty close in the political game here. We know that sometimes name recognition is all you need. People,
Absolutely.
I've heard that guy before. I've heard of that guy before. They vote for him. They don't know anything about him. So Matt Gaetz, the name recognition, that alone goes a long way.
Yes, it does.
It does.
And like
Now, the problem that Matt has is that there's too many between the Democrats and the Independents. He might could co-opt 80% of the Republican vote, but the Independents are a lot harder to pull, and you got to have them to win in Florida.
Yeah, Tiffany, do you want to weigh in?
I was going to say, like Scott, I do have close sources who are close with Matt, who did tell me as early as January of last year that was his plan, and that his father was going to get involved too to help fundraise for that as well. So I don't trust anything Matt says.
Well, and there's no question that Don Gaetz is a prolific fundraiser. When he ran for, when I say he, I mean Matt Gaetz. When Matt Gaetz ran for Congress, that was a very crowded field. What was it, Scott? 6, 7, maybe even 8 people initially?
I think there was 8 people.
9 people.
Maybe 9.
And I remember having a conversation with more than one, although the one I was closest to was Greg Evers, who was able to fundraise very easily for his House seat. But when he went back to those people asking for money for Congress, for his congressional run, he said that he was told nearly by everybody, Don Gaetz told me I have to give to his son and can't give to anybody else. And I said, well, with those kind of people, they got enough money that thought they bet on every horse in the race. And I'm like, not this one. And it was kind of a directive from Don Gaetz. So there's no question that Don Gaetz is able to influence the money raising, the campaign fundraising for his son. I mean, it's a position that he's certainly in, even without holding an office back in the Florida Senate.
I will tell you that more than one person has told me, and this is this isn't fact-based information, but the statements of people who've been associated with the Gaetz family have told me that the Gaetz don't do you a favor unless they have something that they can use against you. So all these people that are that were the beneficiaries of Gaetz' help before that campaign knew good and well that it would cost them dearly to go against them.
All right. Well, it seems like it's an irrelevant topic because Matt Gaetz is, we think, officially not seeking the governor's office.
Well, so far.
Okay, well, that concludes this segment here of the Political Matrix News, and please stay tuned for the next event coming up.